Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Allen. This is the Pentecost Podcast.
You know, Galatians chapter 5, verse 16 says, walk by the Spirit and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. So this walking, what does this walking mean? It's an ethical lifestyle. It's your conduct. And you will not. It's an imperative in the verse, and it's followed by a promise to gratify the flesh. So Paul is confirming the work of the Holy Spirit in a very positive way for believers. And he uses this double negative meaning. You will definitely not gratify the desires of the flesh. That's the way he writes it. So the more you listen to the Holy Spirit, the less likely you will make mistakes and listen to bad advice. And in effect, as you walk in the Spirit, you'll be protected from listening to, you'll be protected from listening from inappropriate, unhelpful advice from others, and whether they are human or internal or external, isolate yourself and stuff like that. The Spirit of God will protect you. Now, this is a remarkable, absolutely remarkable ministry of the Holy Spirit. He guides you individually. How good is that? Like he offers personal guidance and he helps us to respond to life, enabling us to progress in our faith. And the Holy Spirit as a friend mentors and ministers to us. And when we take advantage of the personal relationship of the Holy Spirit, life becomes more positive. And the Holy Spirit's inspiring character can be traced back to this walking in the Spirit. And so, when the Holy Spirit speaks to us, he's catering to our own personalities because we're all different. And the Holy Spirit speaks through us, and sometimes supernaturally, and other times without realizing that we are a channel of the Holy Spirit ministering to someone. The Holy Spirit speaks through the scriptures in ways that are immediate and relevant, and in ways that are not always apparent to the original readers of the Bible. And the Holy Spirit also speaks through circumstances as well as our conscience, sometimes through words and music and scenery and communion and silence and sound and the innocence of our feelings inside. And it's grammatically possible when you walk in the Spirit, you have all these experiences. Walking in the presence of the Holy Spirit. What a wonderful thing that is. Walking empowered by the Holy Spirit. Therefore, the Holy Spirit's power, it's not distant from us. Holy Spirit is present with us to empower us in our walk. and Galatians tells us in Galatians 5 verse 16, he says, you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. The flesh is the human life in opposition to God. This centric lifestyle that we have, which is indifferent, ignorant of God. The flesh refers to those old malignant attitudes and sinful actions, a lifestyle which results in painful outcomes, harmful habits. But a believer walking by the Spirit has a different destination, positive existence, constructive, beneficial actions and attitudes, because the Holy Spirit takes center stage in our lives. And Romans chapter 8 verse 13 says it slightly differently. It says it this way, that if you live according to your flesh, you die spiritually. If by the Spirit, though, you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. So this is Holy Spirit commitment. It demands a righteous lifestyle, and it's a battle. It's a battle to fight this lifetime commitment. And we've been set, the sin has this nasty habit of resurrecting itself in our lives, but we are encouraged. We're encouraged to reckon, to count sin as dead. It's dead, and keep it dead. Romans 6:11 says it this way: count yourselves dead to sin, but alive in God through Christ. It's like at a funeral, a temptation might come, and you're laying dead in your coffin. But, the thing is, you no longer respond to sin because you're dead. If a guy comes up and offers you some money, you can have it, I stole it from the bank. No, you won't respond because you're dead. Okay. And so we don't no longer look at sin. We lay it at the cross. That's what we do on a daily basis. And the Holy Spirit provides courage, inner strength to be able to help us to do that. And so we say, God, I surrender. Holy Spirit, work in me today, and that sustained warfare against sin is a signal. The very fact that you're fighting sin on a daily basis is evidence that the Holy Spirit is working in you. The flesh may scream and claim to be Lord and Master in charge, but the Holy Spirit reminds us that sin is a trespasser on the grounds claimed by God, inhabited by the Holy Spirit. Romans 8:28 says it this way: because through Christ, the law of the Spirit who gives life has set you free from the law of sin and death. What a great promise that is. And who gives life, who has set us free. The Holy Spirit enables you to put death to sin. And makes available resources that are often instantaneous and also direct to help you to fight those sins. The Holy Spirit enables you to do these things. Look, sin is a parasite. Okay? Put to death sin. There are resources available. Take advantage. This parasite, it's like it takes advantage of our weakness to, hey, come on, give in to temptation. It brings pain. It causes victimization. But ultimately it's destined to be damned according to the scriptures. And so we put it to death by the power of the Holy Spirit. And there is victory, daily established victory. So the church is not a hospital, but it's a military barracks where we're not called to surrender to the Holy Spirit. We're called to stand by the power of the Spirit in partnership with the Holy Spirit to fight the sin so we can walk confidently daily in the Holy Spirit. And so it is amazing. It's in the present tense, So put to death sin. Present tense. Death to the flesh. Not once, not quick, a decisive action, but it's an ongoing action on a daily basis. So how do we do it? Romans 12:1 says, doing what is good and acceptable in the perfect will of God. And we do this on a daily basis. To walk in the Spirit, He will encourage you to help you to walk when we feel as if we're failing. My friend, let me pray for you. I pray particularly that you will rely and lean into the power of the Holy Spirit today as you face various challenges, temptation, whatever it may be. bitterness, hurt, whatever it is, I pray that the Holy Spirit would empower you today to live a victorious walk, a victorious life in the Holy Spirit. God bless you today, my friend.